Kamloops is a city in south-central British Columbia, Canada, at the confluence of the two branches of the Thompson River and east of Kamloops Lake. It is located in the Thompson-Nicola Regional District, whose district offices are based here. The surrounding region is more commonly referred to as the Thompson Country. With a 2016 population of 90,280, it is the 12th largest municipality in the province. The Kamloops census agglomeration is ranked 36th among census metropolitan areas and agglomerations in Canada, with a 2016 population of 103,811. In 2019, the city was estimated to have grown to 100,046. Kamloops is known as the tournament capital of Canada. It hosts more than 100 tournaments each year at world-class sports facilities such as the Tournament Capital Centre, Kamloops Bike Ranch, and Tournament Capital Ranch. Healthcare, tourism, and education are major contributing industries to the regional economy and have grown in recent years. In 2016, Kamloops was the first city in British Columbia to be designated as a bee city. Numerous organizations in the community are protecting and creating bumblebee habitats in the city. The first European explorers arrived in 1811. David Stewart, a trader sent from Fort Astoria, then still a Pacific Fur Company post, spent a winter with the Secwepemc people. In May the following year, trader Alexander Ross established a post, which was known as Fort Kamloops. The rival Northwest Company established Fort Shuswap nearby in the same year. The two businesses merged in 1813 when the Northwest Company bought the operations of the Pacific Fur Company. In 1821, the Hudson's Bay Company took over the Northwest Company, and the post became known commonly as Thompson's River Post, or Fort Thompson. Later it was known as Fort Kamloops. The post's chief traders kept journals, which document a series of inter-Indian wars and personalities for the period. In addition to the daily business of the fur companies and their personnel along the entire Pacific slope, soon after the forts were founded, Kwalila, chief of the main local village of the Secwepemc, moved his people closer to the trading post, so they could control access and gain in prestige and security. After Kwalila died, his nephew and foster son Nicola became chief. He later led an alliance of Seals and Nulekepamix peoples in the Plateau country to the south. Around Stump, Nicola and Douglas Lakes, relations between Nicola and the fur traders were often tense. But Chief Nicola was recognized for his aid to whites during the gold rush. He did try to control those who had been in parties waging violence and looting on the Okanagan Trail, which led from American territory to the Fraser gold fields. Throughout, Kamloops was an important way station on the route of the Hudson's Bay Brigade Trail, which connected Fort Astoria with Fort Alexandria and the other forts in New Caledonia to the north. It was integral during the onset of the Caribou Gold Rush as the main route to the new gold fields around what was to become Burkeville. The 1862 Pacific Northwest smallpox epidemic swept through the Kamloops area during the summer of that year, decimating the Secwepemc, Nulekepamix, and other indigenous peoples. They had no acquired immunity. The epidemic had started in Victoria and quickly spread throughout British Columbia, especially among First Nations. In June 1862, indigenous people went to Fort Kamloops seeking smallpox vaccine. William Manson, chief clerk at the fort, vaccinated numerous persons, but fatalities were extremely high. In late September he reported smallpox still raging amongst the Indians. In October a newspaper in Victoria reported an eyewitness account from Fort Kamloops, saying, "The Indians have been nearly exterminated only 16 have escaped out of a large settlement. Their bodies are strewing the ground in all directions." About 2/3 of the Secwepemc died during the epidemic. In the aftermath, colonists took over traditional lands of the Secwepemc and many other indigenous groups throughout British Columbia. The gold rush of the 1860s and the construction of the Canadian Pacific Railway, which reached Kamloops from the west in 1885, brought further growth. The city of Kamloops was incorporated in 1893 with a population of about 500. In the late 20th century, the logging industry of the 1970s attracted many Indo-Canadian workers to the Kamloops area. They had come mostly from the Punjab region of India. In 1973, Kamloops annexed Banhahatwale and other nearby communities. In May 2021, graves containing the remains of 215 children were found at a former Kamloops Indian residential school, part of the Canadian Indian residential school system. Kamloops is the anglicized version of the Shuswap word, Kamloops, meaning meeting of the waters. Shuswap is still spoken in the area by members of the Kamloops Indian band. An alternate origin sometimes given for the name may have come F.